Saturday and I have coffee and it's 8 o'clock in the morning and we're at Nashville Fit Lab. It's podcast time. Working this time. It's recording this time. I see the light.
Sorry, Michael.
Right.
Your face is beautiful.
And your voice sounded
Buttery.
oh man, the best.
Barry. Just call him Barry.
2, 1.
Welcome to Caffeinated and Confident. I'm Harlow.
I'm JP.
And this is episode 7?
7.
Man, we're cranking them out finally.
Dude, it feels good.
It feels good. Definitely the ones we've had guests. Beautiful.
The guests have been game changers. Sorry.
They have.
I mean, I love talking with you and I, but
we can do this without mics in front of our face.
pretty much, yeah.
And we, even though we're kicking off episode 7, throwing it back. Episode 3, world changer in my book for really pushing our agenda, and then bringing in Michael Warren, great author, just all around great dude. Last week, man, just good conversation.
There was a great vibe to that. The three of us, I think it really went well.
Yeah, really.
If you haven't checked out that episode, go listen to it and then come back and listen to this one. But like the episode 3 and episode 6,
yes, jamming. So with that said, though, today on episode 7, which is just me and you,
there's nothing wrong with just you and I.
We are going to cover the new age of health and what we're seeing as 40-plus-year-old men when it's time to really...
You're more on the plus side. I'm just 40.
Wow, throwing it in there on me. Well, your birthday is past, so you're over 40.
Not yet. November.
You're 40 plus some days.
All right.
Man, get thrown under the bus by the young guy. What's this about? So what we're seeing here on the new age of health, and again, pushing what we believe in, we're seeing more people looking for that self-care. Less, I'm going to take a pill to fix that, versus, hey, I want to eat better, work out, find those alternative medicines, essential oils, teas. I think teas are just ramping up crazy in the world. And also, stress relief, acupuncture, massage, the cryogenic therapy for those who go hard, probably. I don't think you're just walking into that one.
It's good. If you can try that one out, try it out.
It's cold. Remember that. And even just general, more people cooking at home or learning how to cook, right? Or these meal prep companies that we deal with, right? I don't have time, but I'm going to find some real food that someone really cooked instead of lean cuisine, microwave stuff, throw the pizza in the oven. People are really taking the attempt. And, of course, I think the grocery stores are coming to the forefront of that also with better product.
Sure. And it's, we're in that, even though we're developing in this technology age and this, age of information and everything's right there at your fingertips, we've sort of taken a look backwards and said, well, they had something right before, and we need to sort of go back to real food or, real types of like medicine almost, or real therapies, or real, things that worked that we didn't need to necessarily change that could benefit us now. And it's almost making what was old new again.
Yes.
And there's benefits to those.
Yes, by far. Especially for me. I grew up in a small town in the South, and a lot of the farmers that I grew up with, man, they were 90 years old and rolling. Like,
yeah,
driving, still, even in their 80s, still driving the tractor, doing the farm work, out in the 100-degree heat, but not phasing them.
They were sweating every day.
Exactly.
Getting movement every day, and then probably eating exactly what they were harvesting from their farm. There was no middleman. There was no preservative added. There was no take this pill and then eat.
Right.
It was just, here's the food that you grew. What's in it. You know what it took to grow this. Feed your family. Benefit, sell the rest of it, but you knew the whole cycle.
Yeah, the whole cycle. And even the water source they had typically was a well-based water source coming from their property. Now, you don't know, 10 miles down the road it was polluting the place, but there was a good chance that it was pure, right? Or they lived on it for years. I just coughed in the mic. And like you said, yes, they were farming it, but also a lot of those guys were hunters. So the animals that ate their food or their hay or whatever, that's the food. They knew the animal, you know.
Yeah, so now we call that organic, and we pay extra for it at the grocery store.
A lot extra.
Yeah.
Or you have to get on, we're also in the age of population growth, so farms are getting far and few between because people can sell them off and build a subdivision. So you have to sign up for a butcher box or, Porter Road Butcher here in town is great about that. They are farmed. I recommend them. Porter Road Butcher now can just drop at your door. There are locations over in East Nashville, but now they have a box service.
And they have really great quality farm to table. They know exactly where that meat came from, and it's great. You can really tell a difference. It's amazing. Like you think, oh, no. You really can tell a difference in their meats compared to your regular store bought.
And those the two owners, they go to the farms. They communicate with the farmers. They even probably help fund some of the farming if they want certain number of animals. So, and then also that is their passion. It's not a joke, right? It's not just I'm looking to make some money. That's their passion. These guys are phenomenal at what they do. Winning cooking shows, butcher shows. I mean, they're everywhere.
Sure, and that's part of this whole new age of, let's go back to just eating real food. That's got to play a factor in our overall health, our self-care of health, because I think more people are into it. Everybody's always, the diet or exercise industry has always been a huge industry. But I think now it's taken a step even further, I think, and it's become sort of a lifestyle for people with CrossFit or something like, that with, workout, here's your regimen in the gym, but also you have to incorporate real food into your diet. So like with paleo movements or stuff like that, it's like they're telling you to work out, but they're also saying, hey, there's another aspect of that that's going to benefit you as well and take care of that overall picture of your health, and that's eating real food.
Yes, and that leads us into the knowledge, right? Like you just spoke about. We have so much access to the knowledge.
Oh, it's at your fingertip right now.
Right. Ask Google, ask Siri, ask whoever. Again, let's put a filter on that. We've talked about that in some other episodes. There's almost too much information. So definitely dig deep and make sure you're finding out the real stuff.
Yeah, we'll go to reliable sources and not just, Dr. Google and
right.
There's some dangerous misinformation out there that leads you to a place you don't need to go to.
Yeah, even in some of these diet plans, you just look at the diet, and next thing you know, keto diet shows up. Keto diet's a science-based diet. It's not an easy just jump into, oh, man, I ate a bunch of fat for breakfast. I'm good. That's not really how it works. You have to study that diet, and you have to put some work or find a company that's doing the work for you.
Right.
Like one of these meal prep companies that are just keto-based, and still do your homework on that. I can throw keto on anything. There's no regulation on me being a keto meal prep company. I may not know what the hell I'm doing.
Right.
But I sold it to you.
But I sold it.
Yeah, so, do your due diligence. Don't just click the button and go down the wormhole on that. And then there's also some great books out there. We always talk about technology and what's at your fingertips, so sometimes you need to take a step back. And I love audiobooks. Do an audiobook. You drive, we do all that. Right now, especially nutrition information is definitely on the uptick. I think over the years it was more medicine. People were really pushing how to build better medicines when food is medicine, and now we're seeing books come out on that. There's probably always been out there, but they're just better quality books now.
But it just makes sense. So whatever you're putting into your body, bad shit, good shit, like you would that's what you're going to get out.
Exactly. And one book right now that I'm working through is Eat to Beat Disease, and it kind of breaks down like what certain foods really ignite into your body. Simple kiwi, what greens really do. Tons of information that we could do a 2-hour podcast on, and would have to bring someone in because it's up there, and you got to really focus in and cover this book.
Which I'm game for bringing that person in.
Yeah. So knock knock, come on in. And then a couple of other books, kind of throwing it back. Salt, Sugar, Fat was a book that's been out for a while.
Yeah, you were telling me about that earlier. So that was a book in the 80s, you said.
Well, no, the book probably didn't come out. The book's probably 10 years
okay, so
in, but it really hones in on stuff that was known about in the late 80s, early 90s.
With like processed foods or...
Right. It was, the big corporations, they're here to make money. And that's what they do. They have stockholders, and that's what they got to do. So this book really dives into when we get into more processed foods. Like mom and dad were both at work. The generation of the working family, or not just working family, I'm not home family.
Or the TV dinner family.
Right, and that's where it stems from. What's in the box, what's in the freezer, and it really breaks into, all right, well, someone knew that this obesity epidemic was going to happen back then based on all this stuff they were throwing in food. Well, then they were like, oh, let's do low fat. Let's do less sugar. Well, really what that just meant is less fat, yes, but they added sugar to cover up to make the textures.
Yeah, because the flavor was gone.
Right.
If you don't have fat, you need to add something to it to get flavor.
Correct. And then they even were like, all right, less sugar. Well, less by volume, but it's sugar. This stuff's made by chemists, not chefs. So they were figuring out how to make one sugar molecule more potent.
Right.
So now I only put 2 sugar molecules. There's still 32 grams of sugar functionally in your body, but not by volume, right, or whatever. Definitely need someone higher up the chain than I to break that down for you. But just those 2 simple books, and then even some things we forget. We talked about the acupuncture and dry needling and all that. But
have you tried that dry needling?
I have, and it saved my behind because I was dealing with a little bit of injury that was just annoying, and I couldn't figure out how to. I'm big on mobility, love mobility, but I couldn't do it. Couldn't get it to get back in line myself.
Yeah.
And I'm going to lie, you got to grit your teeth a little bit when you're in it. And then the next day I felt like I got in a fight with a baseball bat. But then I could go back to my normal squats, right? I could get back on a heavy squat where I wasn't able to.
So. I guess before, the doctor would say, oh, well, just, put some ice on it. Or just,
Or, well, anti-inflammatory medications.
Yeah, take some ibuprofen,
yeah,
and then you're fine.
Yeah, and if, that ibuprofen, I'm sore, I'm going to take ibuprofen. Please don't do that. Get more information on that. There's some evidence to show that ibuprofen, anti-inflammatory, but it weakens the tendons. Then we're getting into a whole new ballgame of injury. Again, do some research on that. Mobility WOD really gets into that. Kelly Starrett, he talks about that hard, and I think has a couple of documentations on that. So again, do your homework. But yeah, and now leading into, like we talked, more information, books about Sleep Smarter. That is actually a book, by the way. Sleep Smarter is a good book. Most of us aren't getting 8 hours, or don't even have the opportunity to be in bed for 8 hours.
Right.
So now this really dials it in on things to help you get that sleep density. You're only in bed 6 hours. You better make that 6 hours count. I mean, simple stuff. Charge your cell phone, which 90% of the population is not going to do. Move your electronics to the kitchen. Charge them out there.
Don't sit there in bed watching YouTube videos until you go to sleep.
Right. Your brain's
because
going crazy.
There's a connection between that blue light and like you not being able to shut it off. So that stimulation into your brain, you're not going to fall asleep.
Yeah. We're animals by nature, right? So we follow a natural pattern.
We follow the light.
Yeah, but our bodies get into sleep mode as the sun sets, and we screw that all up.
Right.
With
so
all
it's
this light in front of our face.
So yeah, it's
stimulant. It's
stimulant late, and it's late night eating or late night coffee or late night whatever you might want to
and
all this stuff's going to keep you awake.
Right, and then alcohol. Right, I had a couple beers last night, loved it. I didn't sleep great.
Right, yeah.
It's proven not to help you sleep.
You might pass out, but you're not getting good sleep.
Right, you're not getting into that deep sleep. Like you said, you're laying in bed, passed out, motionless, but you're not getting it. And also, so that kind of covers self-care, big, find that knowledge, huge, right?
Yeah, so it's like people have sort of almost taken ownership of that. You're like, well, there's got to be something that I can do, and that's what we just talked about, that self-care. So it's like, I'll go to the gym, I'll put in the mobility, I'll move every day, I'll also incorporate diet. There's books out there. I'll do my research, and all this stuff, again, like I said, I keep saying it's like all this stuff that used to be old is new because people have found out that processed or, in a box stuff is what's killing you.
Yeah, and I need to sweat every day, right? I mean, people who used to work out on the farm, they did sweat every day. They did, and you need sunlight.
You feel better.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. After you sweat, you feel better.
Great.
I might not want to come to the gym.
Yeah.
I mean, there's days I honestly, like, I'll be sore. I don't want to go. But, like, halfway into the workout, I'm like, okay, I'm glad I came. And then afterwards, of course, you're like, all right, cool. I feel not only better, like, physically, but you feel like, okay, I've accomplished something. And then that accomplishment also leads to, like, you're more, your self-esteem goes up, your outlook, you're more positive. You're like, it builds.
Well,
so
brain turns on too. I'm not saying your brain's not turned on, but
but it does.
Yeah, I always get like, oh, this, and this. I need to work on this. Like it wakes you up. And sometimes for me, and JP and I are in the same boat. We're in there every day, and sometimes I'll wait because the later classes sometimes are thin, so I'll jump in with the one or two who are working out. So, I started my day at 4:45, and now I'm working out at 6:30 at night. So yeah. I'm sluggish getting into that workout. But like you said, as soon as that workout's over, man, I feel great.
And then let's go eat some real food.
Real food, right? Exactly. And like we talk about, speak it, do it. It's what we live. Like we want to get in this fitness world. And there's so much information out there. Nowadays, too, people need to find that doctor that is in their wheelhouse. Or at least in their belief system.
Right. And, that understands, I guess, what they're trying to accomplish or, understands that what lifestyle that they're, living or is a member of that lifestyle.
Yes. And I think today, from what I'm seeing, I'm starting to see some really good doctors, young doctors, who are true health coaches. They're not just your doctor, right? Yeah, if something's bad, they're going to help you get through that or find out what's wrong. But they're there they don't want you on medication.
Right. They're there for the journey. And not just your office visit.
Exactly. And though you can seek those out easier on these days. A couple that I follow, of course, it's on social media. We talk about social media a lot. The Fittest Doctor, or at The Fittest Doctor, Dr. Nick. This dude crushes it. He is an athlete. He's a doctor. He's a guy who's looking to get his nutrition cert. Even though he is a doctor, he's still continual learning, which doctors all have to do and do.
Well, and yeah, we should all do that.
Everyone should, but he's taking it outside the box, right? I mean, like we talked about, most med schools don't have a nutrition course.
Well, yeah, because you would usually have to go to a separate, hey, I'll refer you to this nutritionist, go talk to them. Mm-hmm. This is a one-stop shop now. I'm not only can I look at your health, but I can also tell you, hey, these are some of the things you should work into your nutritional,
exactly.
game and combo those.
Yeah, and he's stepping outside that realm and going to get a nutrition cert on his own, as he continues to be a doctor in the fitness world. He's CrossFit certified. I mean, this guy is into being healthy. That is his jam. Another lady on the lady side, which I love to see, is Dr. Fit and Fabulous. She really pushes, like, most of her social media is like she's up at like 4 a.m. going to work out before she goes in to see patients. I mean, she's more in an office doctor, but crushing it. I can still see her out and about on all these, she's in different cities, upping her game with different certs and all that good stuff. But she's always crushing it, right? And she's also trying to debunk some of those eating myths on hers. Definitely follow her too.
But with both of these, it's like you need to go to someone who understands your movements that you're doing. So if it's in the gym, they understand what your lifts or what your daily activities are, workout-wise, so they know what kind of stress that puts on your body. And then they can almost, I hate to use the word prescribe, but like prescribe diet-wise or, therapy, whatever that might entail, dry needling or cryotherapy, whatever that is, that might benefit those areas because they understand what you're doing. So if you go to a doctor that may not live that particular lifestyle or may not understand fully what type of workouts or what type of, movement you're doing every day, I think it's harder for them to understand how to treat that.
Yes.
So
exactly.
To go into someone who understands your movements, you're headed way, you're way above everybody else, I think.
Yeah, and simple stuff, right? So I have to use Dr. Nick currently as my guide here, because those are really the two I've been focusing on following. You know, he does the heavy lifts. He does the hard Metcon. He still does stuff outside of that. He does some intermittent fasting. He gets into that ball game, right? So he understands that. So if I want to try it, I want to talk to this doctor, right? Because he's done it. He's not just shooting from the hip. He's like, nah, man, I've been there. He travels a lot. So for those people who are we talk about that corporate world and life's hard, fast. If you're traveling a lot, he travels a lot. I mean,
he's like we talk about, speak it, do it.
Speak it, do it.
He lives what he's preaching. What he's preaching.
Yeah, afar, high up there too. And so a lot of people are going to ask that question, right? Well, where is he out of? I'm hearing you. I can't talk to this dude on social media about
You could.
Yeah, you actually could. He'd probably answer you.
Honestly, nowadays, you can DM anybody. You can private message anybody.
And with that said, if you DM these people, these again, social media, these are true doctors who are pushing the envelope on how to be a doctor. They'll lead you into some of that other technology-based, but still throwing it back a little bit, right? We talk. So nowadays, it's what I will call the new age house call. They may not be coming to knock on your door, but you have what?
Telemedicine, yeah.
Telemedicine. I think there's another one, so it's more of a database, so you can go find a doctor that fits your wheelhouse called Steady MD. I believe that's what it's called. But that's just kind of the portfolio. So you can go pick this doctor, see if she or he aligns with your beliefs, and it's just moving forward, right?
And then you can sit there and video with them.
Yeah, video chat. I'm still digging into the details on how everything works because everything's so fast these days, right? This stuff's popping up and you're seeing it.
But I think that whole telemedicine is a nice mix between new technology and old ways, because we talked about house calls and how the doctor used to show up at your house. That gives the doctor, the house call itself used to give the doctor an understanding of your home environment, what was going on there, sort of how you're living. They walk through your kitchen maybe, or, you could show them, hey, this is my, whatever, daily activity or my current situation. And a lot of times people couldn't get out of their house, so the doctor would come to them. So this merges that and says, okay, well, now the doctor doesn't necessarily have to drive to your house to be in your house. We can set up this new technology that says, hey, this video screen will let you interact with your doctor, but then you don't have to leave your house. And for people who may not have access or maybe limited injury or, health reasons, they're not able to leave. This is a game changer.